It's Nilvarcus here. Welcome back to another video. We just got our first look at real gameplay for Aion 2 from the live stream. They finally gave us like a solid 1 hour gameplay session with the game just to show us what they've been cooking with the Aion 2. I've spent some time going through the footage, and here I'm gonna break down everything we saw from the live stream, from the heights of the character creator to the big questions surrounding the combat and the UI. My goal is here to give kind of a concise, informative look at what to expect from Aion 2. So yeah, let's get straight into it. The live stream kicked off with the character creator, and honestly, it looks amazing. Graphically, the level of detail in the character models is exactly what you would hope for from Aion 2, and it's kind of expected from the game that's Unreal Engine 5. The original Aion was famous for having one of the best character creators of its time, and it looks like the developers are fully committed to upholding that legacy. They showcased a good amount of presets, which is great for those who want to jump in quickly, but for those of us who spend hours tweaking every detail, the system looks incredibly deep. They've inherited and evolved the robust system from the original, allowing players to fine-tune individual features. They showed us a massive range of possibilities, from the return of the classic chippy characters and big head body types to the ability to create some truly unique and even bizarre characters, like a female character with the massive beard. It seems they understand what made the first game's creators so beloved: the sheer freedom. You can make a tiny, stylized characters or more realistic heroes. This level of detail and possibility was a relief to see, as I was slightly worried they might simplify the character creator. But based on the first look, they're starting on a very strong note. Once they create the character, they went right into the game. We got our first look at the UI. The hotbar is one of the most important elements, and it gives us some clues about the gameplay loop. It looks like we have two different hotbars and what appears to be a total of 12 active skill slots. Above that are slots for consumables. There's a dedicated mount button and a flying button. Personally, I think 12 skills is a great number for an MMORPG. It's enough to allow for like complex rotations and situational abilities without becoming overwhelming. It hits a sweet spot between 8 skill limit seen in some modern MMOs and the 20 to 30 buttons in the older titles. But the biggest reveal in this segment was the flight. This was a major point of contention in the original Aion, where flight was heavily restricted to specific zones. In Aion 2, they showcased a true unrestricted flight across vast open world. This is a massive improvement. The freedom to just take off and fly anywhere in a world that they're saying is 36 times larger than the original is a huge selling point, and it addresses one of the biggest frustrations from the first game. The world itself looks stunning, and seeing it from the air really drives home the scale they're aiming for. Obviously, there's some worries about the unrestricted flight and PvP, because like, if people can just pop the wings and fly away, which also happened in the first game, it's gonna be a bit of a problem, but we'll have to see how they do the PvP in this game. We don't know that yet, but I can definitely see that being a big issue with the game. Then they took us into what looked like the revamped version of the classic Fire Temple dungeon with the 4-man party. This was our first look at the combat system, which has been kind of a major question mark. So is it an action combat or tap targeting? The answer seems to be some kind of a hybrid. You don't seem to aim your skills. Everything is going to be kind of a targeted when you lock on, but then you can kind of move around when you're using your skills. I think what I've seen so far, I would kind of classify it as a more action-oriented tap targeting game, basically, but I wouldn't call it like an action combat at all. It definitely looks more mobile than the kind of a static combat of original Aion, which is cool to see. But if you were expecting this game to have like a full-on action combat, I feel like you're going to be quite disappointed. Many attacks still seem to kind of auto-target on the selected enemy. It does feel a bit of a middle ground that seems to be designed to be functional on both PC and mobile platforms. So to me, it's a bit of a mixed bag. The mobility seems to be a clear plus to me, but the lack of like true action combat doesn't make me too overly excited about it. I'm not completely writing it off though. I think tap targeting is a system that works in MMOs, and if you make it kind of an active and fast-paced enough, it can be a really good combat system. I mean, to be fair, one of my favorite combat systems is from Arcade, and that's pretty much just a tap targeting combat system, so I guess we have to feel how it actually plays. I know when Koreans got to play the game, they weren't too excited about the combat system, so I'm hoping there's some good feedback from them and they're gonna actually improve on the combat. Then let's talk about the UI in more detail, because I feel like that's pretty important in this game. This is where some of the kind of concerns start to creep in. While I think the main gameplay UI looks pretty clean, but then when he pops up the inventory screen and the shop menu that he goes through, it looks super mobile to me. I know I'm not the only one, and this is like the big worry for the community, that the Aion 2 would be kind of a mobile. It leans too much towards the mobile game. Even though they stated that it's a PC first game, I'm not sure if it is. I think these UI elements kind of suggest they are thinking about the mobile platform more than they're actually saying. You also got some glimpse of the kind of gear system they're going for. There's a pieces of gear with like +11, +12 like enhancement levels on them, which pretty much just implies the classic kind of a Korean MMO enhancement system. I think this is pretty much expected for the game, and we'll have to see how like RNG based this system is. This isn't really a surprise for me at all. Like, I'm sure everyone kind of expected the gearing system be like this. I guess the big question here is how impactful the cash up is going to be to this progression system. I'm pretty sure it's already kind of confirmed that the game is going to have some pay-to-win elements, so this kind of enhancement system is always pretty rough, and very easily it's going to be pay-to-win. They don't even have to sell that many things in the cash shop, and this system is going to make it pay-to-win, so that's something we have to be cautious about for sure. So after breaking it all down, watching the live stream, what's the kind of a final verdict of the first look on Aion 2? I think some of the positives were around the character creator is incredible, unrestricted flight in the open world is also awesome, and graphically the game is just beautiful. I do think they are kind of capturing the essence of original Aion while making it more of a modern game. But then I do think I have kind of a valid concerns that I brought up in this video. I think the combat system just doesn't look that engaging and fun, in my opinion. Like, just like watching him play the game, I was kind of bored, and that's usually not a good sign when it comes to the combat system. I think seeing some of the UI elements being so heavily influenced by the mobile platform, I'm a bit worried about that. I'm a bit worried how that's gonna impact the overall experience on the PC. And then obviously seeing the gear enhancement system and knowing how easily that can be absolutely brutal when it comes to pay to win, that's probably one of the biggest worries right now with the game for a lot of the community. So I was kind of hoping they would go more into it on this live stream. Maybe they did, but because it's in Korean, I've kind of had to go by the visuals here. But overall, I think it was a pretty good live stream for Aion 2, and it gave us a much better picture how the game is gonna look. It definitely didn't make me like overly excited for the game though. I'm more like intrigued. I want to know more. I want to see the systems. I want to know how deeply they... I mean, there's just couple main questions I still have for the game that I talked about in this video, but I guess we just gotta keep on waiting for more information about the game. But yeah, that's pretty much my breakdown of the live stream that came out. I'm curious to hear your thoughts though. If you watched the live stream, tell me what you thought about it. Are you still excited for the game, or did this make you like less excited for it? Because I could see a lot of people kind of dropping out when they see the combat, and especially if they were expecting full-blown action combat, and this is nothing like that. So yeah, but yeah, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Give this video a like, subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.